in the past videos, we build or we tried to pull the data from Zerodha. So first we created the connection layer, and then we pulled the data or live data from Zerodha, which included our holdings data, and then we also pulled the positions data. Then in this video, we will be pulling the orders data from the Zerodha, which is more like live data. So what I will do, I will create an order on Zerodha, and then on the real time we will pull it in this Google spreadsheet, right? So let's do this. Now first let me show you the sheet structure. We are using the 4 tabs again in this module. One is the config sheet, right, which will have all the configuration that we are doing, and then I will add the orders row. So the orders row, then I will also add, let me just, okay, I'll move it, but then let me also add orders dashboard. Let me just rename it, right? And then we have the logs as well. So the logs will basically maintain all the the logs that we have. And one thing, if you notice here, I have the error message. Why? Because the access token was expired, so we have to do that, right? Okay, now let's go back to the orders sheet. So we will have 2 sheets, orders row and the orders dashboard. Now let's open the extension and then app script. This is where we have written our code. Now this basically will create the menus and all like we have, and then we have 3 important things that we need to add. One is the order sheet, right? So it will check whether there is a sheet or not. And then in the menu, right? So in the menu right now we have refreshing orders because I changed the menu, right? So first let's add the orders menu. Let me add a separator, right? And then I will add orders, right? Just to show you, let me just show you as well what we are doing. So we will, when I refresh it, now you will see the orders, right? So we have initialized order sheets, refresh orders, and then build order dashboard. Okay, let's go back, and then we have extensions. Now we need to initialize those as well. So let me add the orders row and dashboard. So let me add this one, orders row and orders dashboard. Then rest of the things will go as it is. Now let's add the function to refresh the orders. Let's go in a very proper way. So we have function over here, right? So we have function, we have refresh. Now let's add orders, right? Let me just check if indentation is right. Okay, so now we have refresh orders over here. Now let's add the write orders function. Now we have build orders, right? We don't need these ones, otherwise it will be duplicate. Let me just save and see if we have any error or not. Technically it should not have any error. So we have, I'll show you all the functions that we added. So we have refresh orders, then we have write orders, and then we have build orders dashboard, right? Let me save this. I think this is already saved. Let me refresh the sheet. Okay, let me come to the orders, and then we have initialize orders. Initialize order sheets not found, even though we don't need it, but then so basically we initialize orders. So instead of the trading sheets, we will initialization instead of trading. Okay, so I'll just remove this. I mean, we don't need the initialize orders because on open sheet, right, we'll do it manually, and then by the end of this project we will refresh it, right? So we have data from 2 sheets. Let's see the orders row and then orders dashboard. Now for this, what we can do, let me create an order so that you can see on Zerodha, so that you see. Let me check if I have fund. Yeah, I have fund. Let me create an order, right? Maybe a yes bank order. Okay, quantity just 1. Okay, so I just created an order on Zerodha. Let me just refresh orders. Okay, great. Orders created successfully. So we just bought this at 9:56, right, at Indian time. Quantity just 1. Just for the sake that, since we will be doing multiple, let me add one more stock. Just trying to find one more stock, probably, I don't know, maybe like, I'm looking for a very cheap, let's say less price stock. Not SBI card. Okay, there was one stock which I really liked in the past. Maybe I can add that by 1. So now I bought one more stock. Now let me refresh it. Refresh orders. Now we have two stocks over here, right? So both were created just now, like 2 minutes apart, right? And then if you go to the orders dashboard, now you will see the orders dashboard as well, right? Okay, great. So the executed value was 57, probably because we have 57.62, right? If I go back, okay, so in this, if you see at the top, we can immediately see there's a summary card, the total orders. Then we have buy orders, complete orders will show how many actual were executed. And then we have open pending orders and then rejected or cancelled ones, right? And then we have final quantity order. Now below that we have the detailed order table, right? This is where the sheet becomes much more useful rather than just checking one row at a time inside the broker app. Now we can sort it, filter it, or even color code it on the basis of status, and then maybe later combine it with our journal logic or the risk analysis that we will come on in the next couple of videos. One important point to explain is that the order book is only for the current day, right? That's why we are saving it into a Google Sheet, which will be very useful, right? So yeah, I think if this sheet does not work, then what all that we need to do, right? One of the reason could be the access token is expired. It could be the tab sheet names were not matching. The API key, the config in the configuration sheet is missing. I'm not sharing that configuration sheet again because then I need to hide the credentials, right? For me, editing part is kind of a tough because I'm not very great with the editing. So this is the full orders tracker module for Alladin, I would say, right? Now you have holdings. Now you have holdings, positions. Let me just go a bit. You have holdings, positions, and now the orders tab. Let me just move these two as well so that we are in the orders, right? If I go back just to refresh holdings, so the holdings will not have the updated ones. Why? Because the orders more. Let me show. I think the positions one I actually removed. So let me add the code for the positions as well. Okay, just a second, because now we have the today's position. Okay, so for the positions, so since positions were after holdings, I'll just add a separator, one more separator over here. We already have our separator over here, and then just add one more here, and then let me add it over here. So what we are doing over here is basically we are adding the items under this menu, right? So I'll just show you what we are doing. So right now, if you see, we do not have the positions, which I basically removed it, but then when I refresh it, now you will see refresh positions. So what this separator does is basically separates, just to have a better view. Okay, let's go back to the app script, right? And then let me see, the good coder is someone who does things in a sequential way. So since we had holdings first and then positions and then rows, so that's why I added it, right? Let me now add the refresh positions, right positions. So initialize, then we have refresh holdings, then we have build holdings, right holdings. So this is the kind of the pattern that we are following, right? Build holdings or orders, right? So what we need to add the positions before the orders so that we are following the format that we are doing, right positions and then right positions. So now it's good. Let's save it and check whether it's running or not. Okay, so refresh positions. Great. So now if you see, we have the positions as well in our sheet. So what we did over here, do we have multiple data? Do we have duplicate data? Okay, so we have net and then the day, right? This will change. So that's fine, right? So we have positions and the summary sheet of positions, or let's say the KPI dashboard of the positions. So why we have, okay, let me just go back and see. So if you see over here, we have net position set and then we have the day, right? So the net positions represent the current open position view, right? So this data, and then the day will have the positions represent the today's buy and sell activity. So this will be like a today, and then this is like a more of a current. This I would say this distinction is useful for intraday traders who anyone who wants to understand what is happening during the current session versus what is still open in the account, right? Yeah, I think this was a good video when it comes to, when you want to see the overall scenario, what is happening. So in the next video, we can extend this to, let's say, the trade journal, and then we will build a risk dashboard or even a watch list scanner. So if you want to have some more logic built into these sheets, let me know. I will try to add. Maybe you can comment if you want to see a more information in these dashboards. I would say don't request for to add things in the positions row, in the row sheets if possible. We can add it, but then try to add more information in the dashboards so that it's easy for you to summarize the data. Right. I think that's it for today's video. Thank you so much. This was a really good video. Okay. Bye. Take care. Have a great day.